to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
And I'm Meg Hofdahl.
And this week we're talking about Silver Bullet, which when I was searching for it, it was always called Stephen King's Silver Bullet.
Well, I mean, you know, by then he's a big name. He's a big deal, Kelly.
Okay. It's March, by the way.
It is March, and it's still cold as shit. What's a good cold as what? Cold as a witch's tit?
I don't like that saying.
No.
But yeah, I know. People say that. Why?
Cold as I'm trying to think of a good one. I don't know. Tweet us your cold as euphemisms or aphorisms.
So I have been busy with regular work, but also I've been stage managing a play.
So tell us, what is the sort of protocol for a stage manager?
Well, it's...
Oh, hi, Bucky. Do you want to say something?
It's sort of doing what the director needs you to do. It's calling cues, getting actors in places, and things like that.
Are there a lot of temperamental actors?
Not on my cast.
Oh,
I
good.
shouldn't say my cast. Our show. It's all been very positive, and it's a lot of fun. I used to direct a lot, and it's kind of nice to stage manage because you're not in charge of everything, but you still are very involved.
I'm burping a lot because we just ate deep fried Twinkies. And Bucky is behind me scratching a pillow. But I am listening.
It's kind of perfect for this episode, though, because it's like, is he turning into a werewolf? Like, what's going on?
A chihuahua. What if you got bit and you thought it was by a werewolf, but it was a chihuahua wolf? And I know I can't say wolf. I'm trying. And then you turned into a chihuahua. What if? This is how great literature is written. You start with what if.
I feel like that's a movie that would be done in the Beverly Hills Chihuahua series somehow.
Oh, yeah. They should release that, like, around Halloween time. You guys, put that in our notebook.
We're just coming up with ideas for you left and right. What have you been busy with? I've been stage managing, and you've been, I'm assuming, writing a lot.
Yeah, I'm working on the sequel to my novel, which is coming out this month now, Her Dark Inheritance. You can pre-order it now on Amazon if you'd like. Yeah, I'm getting things ready, I've been doing a lot of interviews for the release of my novel, which has been really fun. One of which was with the Wicked Library, because they... just on the 20th of last month, they just released my short story Willoughby as a audio story that you can listen to. And they did a wonderful job with a story of mine called The Pit, and the terrific voice actress Jessica McVoy did this one as well. Like I said, it's called Willoughby, and I encourage you guys all to listen to Wicked Library anyway, because they have amazing stories, and it's very much horror suspense, which you guys I know love. But yeah, check out Willoughby. Bucky, I'm trying to shill my stuff here. If you guys can see this chihuahua. Hello, Bucky. I'm trying to sell them stuff. And now he's got his hand. He's taking the microphone away. Yeah.
With his eyeball.
I'm taking a picture. Okay. So just picture a chihuahua grabbing Kelly's hand and taking the microphone away.
Oh,
and now
he's back to
yeah.
scratching.
Bucky, we're kind of a big deal, so you need to quiet down over there. Don't you know?
Aww. He was a rescue, and they told us at his psych eval, they do psych evals at animal rescue places, that he had low self-esteem, and that he should be adopted without his biological brother because his biological brother was mean to him.
Well, I think his self-esteem is back. He's
Yeah.
trying to take over this podcast. Maybe it's because it's the werewolf theme.
Yeah, he's getting a little nervous. He smells it on us. So speaking of writing and Stephen King and werewolves, did you read this short story?
Actually, no, this is one of the very few Stephen King works I have never read. It's actually kind of... a trickier one to get a hold of. You don't really see it in, bookshops and things like that, but it's on my to-do list, but I've never read it.
Interesting. What can you tell us some background on this movie?
Okay, so Silver Bullet came out in 1985, and it was, as you mentioned, it was based on the novella Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King. It stars Corey Haim, R.I.P., Gary Busey, Everett McGill, Megan Follows, and Terry O'Quinn, who we love from X-Files and Lost and Stepfather. I was really proud of myself, though. I guessed who the narrator was. Did you?
No.
So the whole movie is narrated by sort of the grown-up version of the sister.
Oh.
No, the sister, yeah. And the whole time I'm like, I think I know who this is. It's Tova Feldshaw, if I'm saying her name right. The mom from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I have to IMDb this, but I'm going to wait till the very end. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure. And I was...
She's got a distinct voice.
Yeah, so I was really proud of myself on that one. I guessed it. So it came out to very little praise or care. It was not a movie that was very popular. It got 12 million in the box office. It was a 7 million budget, so I guess it made a little bit. It is only about 40-something% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. And just really wasn't received with a lot of fanfare. The reason I chose it is because it's one of my dad's favorite movies, and ever since I can remember, my dad has loved this movie, but also he just loves werewolves. And so I was watching this movie kind of thinking in the back of my mind, why does my dad love this movie? Not because I didn't like it, I did like it, but I was sort of watching it through that lens of like, I wonder why my dad likes this movie so much. But it has, like, as we said, poor Corey Haim in it, and there's been, like, news lately about him, and he passed away several years ago. But are you a fan of his? Were you into him back in the 80s, 90s?
I had a door poster, like life-size Corey Haim on my bedroom door.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, the Coreys were so busy. Every third movie we watch on Horror Rewind features one of the Coreys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Burbs fan, which of course we'll have to do soon, with Corey Feldman in it. But yeah, Corey Haim. Here's what I love. He was such a good child actor. Unfortunately, it seems like he didn't have a good time of it, and that really sucks, and I think contributed to why he's not alive today. But here's something I love about this movie, and I assume that, and I know I did some reading of the background in the book, is that the main character is in a wheelchair, and I find that as much as you and I talk about wanting women portrayed more in horror movies, and certainly, we're coming around to movies are now doing better with people of color, I feel like maybe we're still not doing so great with people with disabilities.
Yeah, differently abled, like, in general, all of that should definitely be shown. And where it's not the reason for the plot, it just happens to be, like, showing all these different people, being more inclusive. I think that's so important. Speaking of, do you know the dad from Life Goes On? Did you ever watch Life Goes On with Corky?
Oh yeah, I love Corky, and then he had like the romance. Didn't he have a romance?
I don't know. I think so.
Okay.
But it was the show. I can't remember that actor's name now, but do you remember?
No.
But it was the boy with Down syndrome, and the dad. He looks totally different in this movie, but the dad from Life Goes On was in it in this movie. So anyway,
and there was a man from one of your favorite TV shows of all time, Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I wrote that down. Hank from Twin Peaks is in it. And then baby Terry O'Quinn, like, he looked like such a little baby.
He did. He had hair.
Yes, it was lots of white men in this movie. I also wrote down.
Oh yeah. Lots of white men. It was narrated by the sister, but she really, I guess she, I shouldn't say, she did have some pretty good plot points, and she did like a lot of the figuring out of what was going on. So, but yeah, there's definitely, this is a white town, and I believe it takes place in Tarker's Mill, which is right next to Chester's Mill for all you Stephen King fans, which is from Under the Dome and many other things. So he was keeping it all in the universe.
Very cool. So the first thing I wrote down is decapitation.
Wait, what was the decapitation?
I don't know. That's the first thing I wrote down. Somebody must have gotten decapitated.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, well, there's good gore in this. I don't know. Maybe I just like this movie, so I'm an apologist. But I saw somebody complaining about the werewolf. I think it's fine.
I wrote down that I wish we had seen a little less of it, like right away.
Oh, sure. Kind of get more shadows and kind of like so you wonder. I kind of like how, and I know this is sort of retroactive, but I feel like it has a Stranger Things vibe of like kids are kind of our stars, and that's something Stephen King has done before, and I like it. It like when he does it in It and things like that. I sort of like seeing things from their perspective.
I like it too, and it ups the stakes because people aren't going to believe kids. They never believe kids in these movies, and because if something weird is happening, it's like, oh, your imagination, and so it makes it seem like, and this is probably why he does it, you can go with the plot further, because if it's happening to adults, like, people are going to get involved, but if it's happening to kids, you know, who's going to help you?
That's true. There's even more helplessness, and kids often feel like they have to deal with these things alone because adults are kind of in that adult world and dealing with their stuff, and then kids are like, I guess I'll deal with the supernatural shit going on then.
There's a scene where they're teasing the sister, like they threw a snake at her or something. Mm-hmm. Did boys ever tease you with toads or worms or anything? And were you squeamish about that kind of stuff?
I don't remember that. I remember a boy putting gum in my hair
Aww.
at school, and then like I had to have a teacher like help me, and it was very painful to like get it out and stuff like that. And of course it was that was when, you know, in the 90s, even when they would say, well, he has a crush on you, so that's why you're going through this painful experience right now. I mean, and I remember a boy physically hurting me in school, and the teacher saying, well, he just likes you. And I just wonder, how do you think you're teaching girls with that?
I know, I shared an article a couple of years ago about that, saying don't teach your girls to say, you know, like, he has a crush on you, or it's just boys, when they tease you or are mean to you, it's just their way of showing you that they like you, because that's setting you up for a lifetime of bad relationships.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, this painful thing you're feeling right now, that translates to love. So yeah, not cool. But no, I don't. My brother was probably even more squeamish about that stuff. I have an older brother, and he didn't throw creepy things at me or anything. How about you?
No, I don't remember, you know, toads or anything specifically, but I wasn't necessarily squeamish about that. I mean, if somebody threw a dead bird at me, I wouldn't like it, but
I would scream like a little bitch. Let's just be honest.
Meg has a fear of birds. There's a scene where the siblings make up after fighting, and I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, and I feel like this movie, I like how the characters are not your typical, like, slasher movie characters, even though the movie as a whole, you know, pretty much is pretty typical in its construction and everything. I like that the characters are a brother and sister that actually, like, love each other. And I mean, what do you think about Mr. Gary Busey?
Oh, well, he's a hot mess. He's fine. I don't know. I guess I felt confused about his character. Oh, the ambulance. It's like, your ride is here in that episode. Because, you know, he's like the alcoholic uncle who's not doing enough. Oh, and I had forgotten that the silver bullet, of course, is the way to kill the werewolf, but it's also the name of his wheelchair.
Yeah, I like that. I liked that he was in a wheelchair, and that there was some plot points about that, you know, that's because it stinks to sort of like feel left out of things, and there's sort of arguments between his mom and his uncle about how he should be treated, and should he be treated differently, and things like that. I, for one, kind of liked Gary Busey in this movie. I thought he was funny. As I was watching it, I'm like, I think this is why, one of the reasons my dad really likes this movie, because I could see him sort of liking that character. And I think that I think there's something I don't know. I think a lot of us could maybe relate to his character ourselves, but I think we've all had that family member that is a hot mess, but is also like has a good heart.
Yeah, I can see that. And I wasn't even thinking of his character when I was saying he's a hot mess. Because, I mean, it's hard to watch Gary Busey in something now and not, know all the stuff that he's gone through or.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes aren't we glad when we're watching something we actually don't know any of the actors, because sometimes we get so caught up in like their lives. Like, can you really watch something with Angelina Jolie now and not think about like her whole actual life?
I know. Okay, so I was just reading, and I did not know this, or if I did, I blocked it out, that they're remaking Bride of Frankenstein, and she's Bride of Frankenstein.
Ay, ay, ay.
And I think it's Javier Bardem is like the other person or something. I don't know. I don't like that casting.
No. Well, I mean, I guess maybe we'll be surprised, but I'm kind of just over her. I mean, I'm not going to like be catty because it's not about that. It's just like I think I don't know.
She's a brilliant director. I mean, she's a great actress too, but it's that thing. It's like, I don't know. I can't see her as anybody anymore.
Yeah. I think there is something to be said about actors and actresses that sort of keep their lives like not so much out there, which I think is probably impossible, but especially in social media days. But I don't know. I
can't watch a Tom Cruise movie anymore without seeing him as Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Like, Meanwhile, though, I feel like Tom Hanks, it's like he hasn't really given us. He's a nice, pleasant person who's funny and seems to have a sense of humor about himself, but he hasn't given us so much that we can't like see him in different roles.
Yeah, it's weird. It's interesting. There's an angry mob in this movie.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about that in the last episode. Angry mobs. You're right.
And oh, you know what? But going back to that Angelina Jolie, this was in the Universal's or Dark Universe thing, and they've put it on hold. It was supposed to be released like next year, but they're just waiting now because Tom Cruise's movie went so downhill.
Yeah, nobody saw that. Oopsie. Do you think Dexter would like that? He's really into Egypt right now. Do you think he'd like maybe the original Mummy movies?
Oh, maybe.
He's obsessed with Egypt. He quizzes me every day and tells me something new. He loves it.
That's interesting.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we talk about like poltergeists being cursed and things like that. The kid who plays Brady in this movie died when he was 39, and Corey Haim died when he was 38. So that's kind of bummers. That's too young. Oh, every time Kelly just was like, "Why can't you shut your ringer off?" Sorry, everyone.
It's fine. The werewolf dream. That dream sequence is super weird. And I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh yeah, this is a dream sequence. And Campbell watched this with me, by the way. And the reveal after the fireworks incident, he gets the werewolf in the eye. And the reveal then with the minister wearing the eye patch the next morning, it blew both of our minds. Because I did not remember. I have not seen this movie forever.
I hadn't remembered either, actually. At one point, I thought I knew who it was, and then I was like, oh, crap, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I don't know who it is. And it is a great reveal. And I don't know, they did a very good job of making it sort of effectively scary. By the way, the director, and I can't think of his name right now, he's very much became a TV director, and he's directed episodes of Lost and Briscoe County Jr. and many good television series. But anyway, I think they just effectively did that where you are so scared for her when she realizes that it's the minister. Not to mention, it's the dang minister, which is just terrifying.
It's that other level of, this is the person, this is the place and the person who universally you seek sanctuary and you can feel safe with this person because their intentions are always good or, supposedly. And he's the werewolf. It's such a good twist and reveal, and yeah, it was a good build up and then a good climax.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why this movie got bad reviews. I don't really know. Maybe it just didn't feel right at the time. Maybe it didn't scare people, but I personally like this movie because I think it does have some effective scares and twists, and I think the characters are unexpected. And again, I like that perspective from the kids.
I don't know why people don't like it either. I thought it was a good movie, and I too, I mentioned this a few episodes ago. My dad loved this movie and had rented it, and I watched it, through the reflection of the glass. But then I came in to watch, and I remember it being scary. And American Werewolf in London, he had seen that around, that time, and werewolves were a thing.
I prefer werewolves over a lot of. I prefer them over vampires and witches and many things. I don't know why. Maybe it's that transformation, or the idea that there's like the duality, and that a lot of times, not so much in this case actually, but a lot of times there's like a guilt factor, and they like couldn't control their sort of instincts or whatever. I think it's cool.
You know what else I like about werewolves is that you don't know who it is when they're the werewolf. Like if somebody's a vampire, they still look like themselves, or if you're a witch or whatever. But it's like it could be somebody you know and love, and you don't know. And especially if they don't have the knowledge, because sometimes the werewolves don't even know like who they've killed in some movies, and it's like you could hurt somebody you love.
Ooh, maybe that's why I like them. That's really perceptive. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. That's true. I never really thought of it that way. Because I always like that idea of like not knowing if, well, like even in like The Shining or something, where like a family member can be the one to hurt you. So yeah, I think so. That is cool.
We are going to rank Silver Bullet. I mean, we have to use silver bullets, don't we? Or firecrackers in the eye? What are we going to use?
Well, silver bullets, but is it
It's the
an
wheelchair.
actual silver? Okay, it's the wheelchair. I give Silver Bullet 7 silver bullets because I think it's a really great 80s horror movie, and I think it has that nostalgia factor for me. Maybe it doesn't change cinema's landscape, but I like it.
And I'm putting in a little thing, and I'm going to post this picture on social media. I'm giving it 7 silver bullets with Corey Haim writing in them because I loved Corey Haim so much. He was on my bedroom door, and there's a picture of me. I'm like, in 7th grade or something, and I'm posing with a pillow in my shirt, like I'm pregnant with his child, and like we're posing together because I loved him. I'm like, I'm gonna have his babies.
Oh, he's so cute.
But like, how ridiculous is that? A 7th grade girl, like with a pillow in her shirt, next to Corey Haim, like a poster.
We can all dream our dreams.
R.I.P. Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. We wish you luck with your movie making and your exposing all of the Hollywood pedophiles.
That's right. You go, guy.
It's time for our Fast Forward segment where we talk about something new in the world of horror. And this is something that is going to be coming out this June. It's a movie called Hereditary. Have you watched the trailer yet? It stars Gabriel Byrne, Toni Collette, and Ann Dowd. And it's about this family who's going through the loss of the matriarch of the family. The grandmother passes away, but she's still kind of in their lives somewhat. It's not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what's happening. The trailer says it's like The Exorcist for this generation. Every family tree hides a secret. It's got this creepy dollhouse that Toni Collette is working on, and it's got a lot of good cool elements. So that is a movie that's coming out in June of this year and looks pretty awesome. A few other movies that will be coming out within the next several months are The Strangers movie, which is coming out this month. It's called The Strangers Pray at Night. Also, A Quiet Place, which we talked about in a fast forward segment a while ago. That's coming out in April. There is another Purge movie coming out. It's called The First Purge. That'll be coming out fittingly on July 4th this summer. And then also the Nun movie that I've been waiting for because it looks so creepy is also coming out in July. A short trailer for the Slender Man movie has been released, and if you haven't watched that yet, check it out. It's not coming out until August, so it's a little ways away, but I'm looking forward to it. What are you looking forward to watching in the next several months? Are there any horror TV shows or horror movies that you would recommend? Anytime you have a recommendation, you can call into our Anchor station, which is a free app either on your phone or on the computer, and it's sort of an interactive way that we can chat and get recommendations and give recommendations. There's new content on there daily. You can also always contact us via email or any of our social medias to let us know what you're watching.